The World Economic Forum returns to Davos for its first winter meetup in 3 years. This post-pandemic session is themed Cooperation in a Fragmented World. It aims to address the problems that the world faces today as the pandemic eases. Record number of leaders from government, civil society and businesses are attending the forum's January session. Here are the highlights. 2,700 leaders from 130 countries in attendance. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is the only G7 leader attending the forum. World Economic Forum survey predicts a global recession.
The people of Ukraine really deserve it.
The WEF survey predicts problems are likely for businesses and governments this year. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa did not attend the event, saying he has to address an ongoing energy crisis back home. Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg attends the Davos summit.
Let's be clear, we don't need
Thunberg's Cease and Desist campaign is gaining traction on social media. The activist has accused oil firms of hijacking the climate debate.
participants from all
Soccer club Manchester United sets up a shop front on Davos High Street. Manchester United insists that the aim is not to attract buyers. This comes after its November announcement on new investment. Among other recipients, actor Idris Elba and his wife, activist and model Sabrina Elba, win this year's prestigious Crystal Award. They appealed to rich nations to help the world's poorest countries through investment, not aid.
To markets, to resources, to technology, to knowledge, and to people, we can define a different future. Thank you so much.
Welcome to What Just Happened, Yahoo Finance's deep dive into the story dominating the news agenda. I'm Rochelle Akutho, and today we're taking a closer look at the World Economic Forum after a week of high-level discussions in the economic, business and political arenas. Yahoo Finance's Julie Hyman and Brian Sozzi rubbed shoulders with the best of them, and they broke down all the buzz on the Alps.
We're wrapping up our 2023 coverage of the World Economic Forum in Davos, and our three top takeaways is what we're going to give you right now. First of all, when it comes to the economy and what we're hearing on opinions, not a huge amount of doom and gloom, right? There is definitely caution. There's definitely the view that things are slowing down globally, but many companies telling us their businesses are still in decent shape.
No, right, Julie. You don't get the sense, I think you used it in another interview, cautiously optimistic. And I think that's a fair way to put it. Companies are cautious on the outlook for this year and I would say earlier next year, but they're not seeing orders completely fall off a map.
Right. And they're seeing it sort of patchy in terms of where demand is decreasing. All of that said, as we have pointed out before, the people in Davos are not always correct, right? Consensus is not always correct. So take all of this with something of a grain of salt.
And what we could agree on, and this is my takeaway, this was the World Economic Forum where, Julie, I think artificial intelligence took center stage, but not just the artificial intelligence or AI of the years past, next level. A lot of conversations I had were on the outlook and what ChatGPT might or may not mean to tech, but a lot of other industries, some see it as a job killer, some see it as a necessary evil to drive productivity inside their organizations.
Yeah, among others, we talked to Dan Rosenzweig of Chegg about what AI is going to mean for education, and he was pretty positive on what that's going to mean. In fact, there was a lot of positivity and not so much the sort of dystopian vision of AI taking jobs, but rather sort of augmenting what people are doing. And then the third takeaway, you know, Russia-Ukraine still very much a topic of conversation here, even as it is maybe fallen out of the headlines to some degree. I talked to Samantha Power about the U.S. support for Ukraine, not necessarily militarily, but in other ways, helping out with the infrastructure. I talked to Robert Smith of Vista Equity Partners about how important it is that the conflict conclude, both from a business and democratic perspective.
Failure to mitigate climate change and failure of climate change adaptation are the two biggest risks facing the world according to the Global Risks Report. for the energy inflation and food crises. In fact, cost of living ranks as the topmost serious global risk in the short term. The impact of natural disasters or extreme weather events disproportionately affects low and middle income countries, especially developing coastal countries across Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, including India. In 10 countries, natural disasters and extreme weather events were perceived to be the topmost severe risk in the short term or in the next 2 years, according to the report. India recorded extreme weather events on 299 of the 334 days between January 1st and November 30th, 2022. Human-caused greenhouse gas emissions have led to an increased frequency and/or intensity of some weather and climate extremes since pre-industrial times, the IPCC assessment had said in 2021. Today, atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide have all reached record highs. Emission trajectories make it very unlikely that global ambitions to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius will be achieved, which makes failure to mitigate climate change among the most severe threats in the short term too. Biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse has not been perceived to be of concern over the short term. It has been ranked as the fourth most severe risk in the long term or over the next 10 years. The adaptation support required for countries affected by the impacts of climate change too will be insufficient, which may include the commitments under the Loss and Damage Agreement at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh to provide funding for vulnerable countries. The 18th edition of the WEF Annual Report advocates for political will and cooperation among global leaders to address climate and human development.
India has a strong representation and one of the largest contingents at the World Economic Forum this year in Davos. The Indian delegation are all set to highlight the strength of the Indian economy withstanding the COVID-19 fallout, the Russia-Ukraine conflict and its G20 presidency this year. On Sumit Chaturvedi gets us the latest on India's presence at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
The year India is hosting important G20 summit, Indian states are participating at World Economic Forum Davos in a big way. In fact, on the streets of Davos, they have good pavilions. The important states that are participating this time are Maharashtra, which is calling itself Magnetic Maharashtra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu and other states. So chief ministers of these states will be present here as well. The aim is to attract investments to these states and to tell investors that these states are ready for business, ready for investments. In fact, India has a sizable presence at the World Economic Forum Davos. India has a pavilion here, which is always there, but this time it has been given a makeover to show the world that India is changing. It wants to attract capital. It is a kind of economy that is moving towards more advanced economies, and that's why it needs more and more capital. The idea is to attract investors. That's why more companies from India's side are also here, including HCL Tech, Wipro, and also Infosys. That's what is happening here in Davos. Investors are coming, and others, those who want investment, they're also coming here in numbers. This is Sumit Chaturvedi signing off for WION from Davos.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.